Solving one-step inequalities with addition and subtraction. These are the notes you will be taking today. Please find this page in your note packet and get the learning target filled in. I can find a solution set for one-step inequalities with addition and subtraction. All right, so first we're going to define solution set. A solution set is the set of possible solutions for an inequality. And when I say set, and you want to underline that word like I did and draw that arrow, when I say set, you know that there's more than one, that there's going to be a range of values that can make the inequality statement true. All right, so our next question, how do I solve and graph a one-step inequality? We're going to follow these 4 steps. And I'm going to color code them as I go through the first example so you can associate the color with the part in the solving that we did. You're going to say it. You're going to solve it. You're going to graph it. And you're going to check it. So we're really going to be using our skills from our equations unit to help us through this. All right, say it. X plus 3 is greater than 10. And if you didn't remember that was greater than, you would look back at your previous lesson to find the words that represent that symbol. So x plus 3 is greater than 10. Solve it. This takes us back to our equations unit. We're going to follow these 2 steps. Find the variable, then we find the constant, and we're going to 0 pair that constant. So the variable is x, and the constant's on the same side of the inequality, so that's a positive 3. So I'm going to do this step in my orange, the solving. Positive 3, to 0 pair that, it would be a negative 3 on both sides of the inequality. On the left side, you're left with 1x. Bring down the greater than sign. And then positive 10 and negative 3 make positive 7. So x is greater than 7. What that means, we talked about this in the last lesson, is x is anything that is greater than 7. So 7 and 1/10, 8, 9, 10, 10 and a half, any of those things that are greater than 7. All right, remember to graph it. I'm going to use blue for my graph. We take the target number, which in this case, our target number is 7, and that is the center. And we do 1 less than 7, or 1 to the left, and 1 greater than 7, or 1 to the right. Then we find our target number, decide if it's an open circle or closed circle. Because the symbol is just greater than, it's an open circle. And x is greater than 7, so look at your numbers. 6 or 8, you're going to travel towards the 8. Now to check this, and I'll do my check in green, I'm going to take one of those values in the shaded part of my arrow, so it looks like 8, and I'm going to say, is 8 plus 3 greater than 10? Do the math. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 greater than 10? Yeah, that's a true statement. We're good to go. Pause if you need. Here's our next example. We're going to follow the same 4 steps. Say it, solve it, graph it, check it. So say it. Negative 6 is greater than or equal to n minus 5. All right, we're going to notice that our inequality is greater than or equal to. Keep that in mind for your circle. Open circle, closed circle. You might already know the answer to that. Find the variable, find the constant, 0 pair the constant. The variable is n, so the constant is on the same side of the inequality as n. It's a negative 5. To 0 pair negative 5, I'm going to do positive 5 on both sides of the inequality. On the left, negative 6, positive 5, that's a battle. Negative 1, bring down your inequality and bring down the variable. We 0 paired, that's gone. So negative 1 is greater than or equal to n. What that means is that n is anything less than or equal to negative 1. That negative 1 is the greatest value, and then everything else is smaller. So now we're going to graph. I think I did my graph in blue. My target number is -1. Now, this is the first time we've had negatives on our number line. So to the right of -1 is where the numbers get larger, so that would be 0. To the left of -1, they get smaller. That would be -2. Remember, the bigger the negative, the smaller it is. All right. On our target number, is it an open or closed circle? Hopefully you remember it's closed because of that equal to, greater than or equal to. All right, and -1 is the greatest value we can have. So how do we get smaller than -1? Do we go to the right or the left? Hopefully you said left. And then we're going to check that. So we're going to say, is -6 greater than or equal to, and look at your shading. It looks like I can use -2, so I'm going to do -2 minus 5. -6 is greater than or equal to -7. Yeah, that's true. -6 is greater than -7. So we did it correctly. Pause if you need to. We're going on to our next example. All right, so we're going to write the inequality and then solve it. So say it, solve it, graph it, check it is still in play, but we need to write the inequality first from the sentence. 6 more than a number is more than 16. We start with the most confusing one first, okay? Yes, I know. So I'm going to put a box around my numbers. Neither of them is the target number because this is an inequality equation, so we have to solve it first. And then we have this more than and this more than. Now, they actually mean different things. One is the inequality, and one tells us our operator. And then when we say a number, that's our variable. All right, so let's start to translate this. 6 more than a number, and let's use n for our variable. Okay, so that's here, that's here. How do we show 6 more than something in math? Hopefully you said you add. Okay, now that means this one is our inequality, and more than, those two words mean greater than, and then we bring the 16. So that is the translation. 6 plus n is greater than 16. We're going to solve it. I've got these sticky note reminders on every slide. Find the variable, find the constant, 0, pair the constant. The variable's n, so the constant is +6. Do -6 on both sides of the inequality. 0 pair, n, greater than. 16 and -6 makes 10. What that answer means is n is anything greater than 10. So 10 is our target number. Greater than 10 is 11, less than 10 is 9. It says n is greater than 10, that will be an open circle, and greater than 10 is to the right. Let's check it. Is 6 plus n, I was going to write n, but we're going to use 11 because that's in our shaded part. Is 6 plus 11 greater than 16? What's 6 plus 11? 17. 17 is greater than 16. Yay! That's a yes. That says yes. Pause if you need to. We've got another one. The sum of a number and 10 is less than 12. Right? This one's a little more clear. That word sum we know is addition of a number. This is our variable. And we have 10 and -12. Neither of those are our targets, remember. Here's our keywords to give us that inequality. So add a number and 10. Okay, well, let's choose y this time. Y plus 10 is less than negative 12. There we go. Find the variable, find the constant. Y is the variable. The constant is positive 10. Do negative 10 on both sides. Y is less than negative 12 and negative 10 make negative 22. It's a party, everybody. So what that means is N can be anything, and Y can be anything less than 22. Oh, I tricked myself. I should have stuck with N. Y. So make this a Y. All right, let's do the graph. Our target number is negative 22. Bigger than negative 22 would be negative 21. Remember, you've got to get smaller negatives to get bigger. And then less than negative 22 would be negative 23. Y is less than, so it's an open circle. And less than, we just said, is negative 23 and beyond. So we're going to the left. Let's check it. I'm going to choose negative 23 because it's part of that shading. Negative 23 plus 10 less than negative 12. Negative 23 plus 10 is negative 13. And negative 13 is less than negative 12. Yes. Pause if you need. We've got one more. Read it. The difference of a number and 4 is at most 7. All right, difference. Hopefully you know that that means subtract. A number is our variable. 4 and 7, not our targets. They're just part of the inequality. And then our keywords are at most. And if you look back, unless you are starting to remember these, at most is less than or equal to. So the difference, I better go back to using n, of a number and 4, so n minus 4, at most is 7. N minus 4 is less than or equal to 7. Find your variable, find your constant. N is my variable, negative 4 is my constant, so I'm doing positive 4 on both sides of the inequality. N is less than or equal to positive 7, positive 4, 11. What that means is N can be anything less than or equal to 11. Find your target number. It's 11. 1 less than 11 is 10. 1 greater than 11 is 12. Less than or equal to is a closed circle. And less than 11 would be 10 and going down to those negatives, right? If we check it, is 10 minus 4 less than or equal to 7. I'm using 10 because it's part of the shaded arrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. 6 is less than or equal to 7. Yep. All right, pause, rewind, rewatch, whatever you need to do before we get to practice.